Did people in the 17th and 18th centuries wear wigs to hide lice and disease? Or were they simply about fashion and status? The answer is a little of both. Wigs first came into royal fashion at the court of Louis XIII of France. In the 1620s, the king began losing his hair prematurely and commissioned a hairpiece to conceal the loss. When he appeared in public with his new wig, his courtiers quickly imitated him. For the first time since antiquity, a European monarch had turned hair replacement into high fashion. His son, Louis XIV, elevated the wig to a symbol of absolute power. The Sun King expanded his father's modest hairpiece into the full flowing peruque we associate with the French Baroque court. By the late 1600s, wigs had become an international emblem of wealth and authority, an outward sign of status that crossed the Channel into England. In England, Charles II's return to the throne in 1660 helped make wigs an essential part of elite style. During his exile at the French court, he absorbed the new fashion directly from Louis XIV. When he reclaimed the crown after the fall of the Puritan regime, wigs returned to London along with dancing, theater, and all the pleasures the Puritans had banned. Wearing a wig was more than fashion. It was a visible sign that royalist culture was back. By the early 18th century, wigs had become part of official dress for England's lawyers, judges, and members of parliament. But wigs weren't cheap. In the mid-1700s, a fine wig could cost £25 to £40 in London. This was at a time when a household servant might earn only £20 in a year. Wigs were made from human hair, sometimes imported from Italy, or cheaper wigs were made from horse and yak hair. Wig makers shaped their creations over wooden blocks, curled them, and often added lace or ribbons. And then there was the powder. It was usually made from finely ground starch, wheat flour, or even powdered bone, sometimes tinted blue, lavender, or pink to give that shimmering white finish. White hair itself was rare and highly prized, so powdered wigs imitated the dignity of naturally white hair while also giving a fashionable look. Wealthy patrons had their wigs scented with orange blossom or lavender. In 1795, Britain even placed a tax on hair powder. Nothing like a tax to help push the style into decline. Did wigs really keep lice away? To some degree. Many men shaved their heads and wore wigs instead, which made infestations easier to control. Wigs could still catch lice, but because they were removable, they could be boiled, brushed, or treated, things impossible with one's own hair. In some ways, wigs were cleaner than the alternative. Some infamous wig histories have been recorded. The famous London diarist Samuel Pepys bought his first wig in 1663, but it made him squeamish. He wondered if wigs were made of hair from plague victims, and he worried he might catch the plague by wearing it. Apparently, judging from this picture, he overcame his fear. Women took the fashion for wigs to a new level, literally. Especially by the 18th century, some women wore towering hairstyles that relied on pads, frames, and added hairpieces to create height and volume. Powered creations could stretch several feet high, decorated with feathers, jewels, even model ships. These public symbols of wealth, leisure, and refinement were often also the targets of satire, as caricatures mocked the absurdity of women trying to balance such architectural creations on their heads. Caring for wigs and hairpieces was an industry in itself. Wig makers maintained shops across Europe and its colonies where clients brought their wigs to be washed, combed, and repowdered, sometimes daily. Wigs could even be rented or bought secondhand, ensuring that nearly every class of society could participate in the craze at some level. By the late 18th century, during the American and French revolutions, wigs had come to symbolize aristocracy, privilege, and the old order. Revolutionaries wore their natural hair cropped short as a mark of equality. Citizen hair was unpowdered hair. In France, wigs fell out of fashion, especially as heads began to fall under the guillotine. And in America, leaders like Jefferson and Washington chose their own hair to signal independence from European aristocracy. By the early 19th century, wigs had largely disappeared from everyday life, even in Britain. They survived only in ceremonial roles, most famously in the courtroom, where judges and barristers still wear them today. What began as one king's solution to baldness became a multi-million pound and dollar industry, a marker of class and power, and finally, a symbol of everything the revolutionaries wanted to overthrow. The wig craze rose, powdered, and toppled, leaving behind only a cloud of powder.